Tell me something silly. Go ahead and lie to me before it's over. Lie to me. I got all day.
I was ashamed when I realized that life was a costume party, and I attended with my real face.
Tavares.
Right in the butt?
What?
No.
Less than a minute now.
Tool time for 200.
This term for a long-handled gardening tool can also mean an immoral pleasure seeker. Ken?
What's a hoe?
No.
She has a very long back.
Taylor Swift.
Hey, throw that motherfucker. Throw that motherfucker. Hey, throw that motherfucker. Throw that motherfucker. Throw that motherfucker.
Hey guys, this is my girlfriend Becca. She has cancer, but I love her. Ugh! You can't find no black with cancer? Girl, I know, right? With his weak ass.
I'm into older looking women, you know? Yeah, I'm into older looking women. Means I mostly date white women in their 20s.
Unreasonable expectations. Why do humans place unreasonable expectations on each other? What do I mean? As an example, we know that all humans are non-monogamous. Why do we place this unreasonable expectation of monogamy on each other? You know, when people get married, they say those silly ass vows and they say something like to have and to hold. Why place that unreasonable expectation on that person, knowing that you are non-monogamous and that person has been non-monogamous? Why place that unnecessary expectation on each other? It's just unreasonable. We all hoes at the end of the day.
I'm not sorry for what I'm about to do.
What are you doing?
Damn garbage.
Garbitch.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Monk Dan on a surprise visit, yo. It's been a long since I've streamed on this channel, and man, I have the encouragement, if you will, to just stream again back on this channel. Man, YouTube, you know, they censor craziness. But if you are new to the channel, if you're new to just my channel and all in everything, in every aspect of it, excuse me. I'm Monk Dan, like I said, and what I do on my channel is I seek and share wisdom through philosophy. And today we are going to talk about chapter 2 of the bedside book of Bad Girls, Outlaw Women of the American West by Michael Rutter. Yes, man. So hopefully YouTube does not censor me. When I talked about chapter 1, they were a little kind of, you know, like a lot of my topics, man, they don't, I'm like, bruh, ain't nobody sharing nudity or nothing like that. But yeah, man, let's get into it, man. Short chapter. But I want to share some wisdom, you know. I guess let me just give a preface about why am I even discussing this. It's very important that we talk about this, dating and relationships, if you will. This is not a relationship channel, but the wisdom in it is that us guys, we have to be a bit more careful in mate selection. You know, in our society, women seem to get away with a lot. And there's no difference from the women of the past and the women now. And I'm gonna kind of talk about the similarities from the past and now and how things are. And we just kind of overlook, these behaviors that women portray, or not even portray, they demonstrate these things. Case in point, chapter 2, Miss Ma Steffleback. Let's get into it, man. So here, this scene is kind of taken in the city of Galena, Kansas. I don't know where that is. I should have looked that up, and they said in the text that right now it's about maybe 3,000 people. So it's a small town. Oh, they call her Galena's Bloody Madam. Wow. But yo, check it out, man. Ma Stefflebeck, they opened up saying she had a ferocious appetite for money. So this lady loves money, and she was very, what's the word they used? Basically, she liked to have money, but she would hoard the money. So she didn't really spend or splurge, which is odd, which is different, if you will. Usually the saying is that women, when they have money, they like to spend, spend, spend. Ma, on the other hand, she was very she would hoard her money. But so the setting of this, it takes place in Galena, Kansas. This town was it became a really booming town because of they found lead in this town, and so they would use this lead for weapons like bullets, I suppose you would say. And they used this, especially during this time. They noted that this was during the Confederacy time. So with the war going on, they used this lead for their weapons. I'm hoping my audio is good because I was having problems when I did a test run. So hopefully it is going well. Anyway, so she had a brothel, man. This lady here was running a brothel, and the key thing about it was, as I said, she loved money, but she would do anything for money. She would do anything, so much so that she would delete people. So this is where it gets a little, not a little. This is where it gets really dirty. So she would have a brothel, and it was booming. Of course, this was a booming town, many mines, lead mines. So the money is there, money flowing everywhere. You got miners, you got people who traveling to the city and all that, blah blah blah. So the city is booming, right? So Ma, she was so in love with having money, so much so in her brothels, she would set up guys to drug them or get them really drunk to rob them. And she picked certain specific guys to rob. One, if she did see you with money, she was gonna come after you. She would send her honeypot. She would send her women to come in to kind of probe you and see what you got, and she would do the robbing. So she'll send her girls to come and get you, but she would come in. She would be the one physically get in your pockets. It's like this lady was gangster. But here's the thing, man. This is what I wanted to share, especially even in this point in time where we have these economic disasters here in the United States. The economy is trash. Of course, the rich are getting richer. They call it a K-shaped economy. It's profiting those of the upper tier of the K, and the lower tier, the poor gets poor. So that's what we're dealing with here. And so in these economic times or of distress, people are poor, if you will. The average person is poor. Why is that important? So with that being said, the average man will become forgotten. Why am I mentioning this? Is because Ma Steffleback, she would prey on individuals of that nature. Meaning, if you were, let me get the words that they used. So it says, if it looked like he wouldn't, and they're talking about the guys. If the guy, if it looked like he wouldn't be missed, was a newcomer or a transient, And especially if he was carrying serious money, they'd get him sloppy drunk or drugged him if that was quicker and lure him out of sight where they could have some privacy. And they were talking about the working girls and all of that of the brothel, if you will. So why that's important right there, because there is a honestly there is an epidemic in our culture or in our society where men are kind of phasing out of the dating aspect and men are kind of just being forgotten. And that's a problem because you have people like Ma Steffleback who sought out people like that. And it says if men who were not missed, who are newcomers, like meaning you're a newcomer to the city maybe, or if you're a transient, meaning you're just passing through. I'm assuming that's what that meant. But that women prey on guys like that, and that's kind of with chapter one. And I see that as a theme, as a problem. So chapter one was like that. That was with another situation, kind of the same scenario, but the woman, she was a younger woman, and she was the ringleader of these criminal or these crimes, if you will. Anyway, I forgot her first name, but anyway, so my Steffleback, she had her pickings of men who she could get over and delete these individuals. And I thought that was very important, man. So like guys, man, we have to be aware. We have to be aware. I wanted to bring up a story, but I'm having problem. Not only did she delete the sugar daddy, she decapitated. Excuse me, YouTube. She took off the heading of this person and she flew. Oh, she went right to Mexico. She retreated to Mexico. So the story is that they caught up to the lady. But that's a great living example. And this was, I guess, at the beginning of this year. So they got to the lady. But the same scenario with Ma Steffleback, no one really checked up on this dude. They just so happened to say, oh, wow, he's missing. Like, we haven't seen him in a while. Like no one was regularly, I can't even say the word. They were not... It wasn't an ongoing thing where they were checking up on this guy. And that's how men of our society is treated, man. We're treated like a utility rather than a person. Like we don't have someone to check up on us. Even in myself, like I don't have a lot of friends. I just have, to be honest with you, I have 3 solid friends, but we don't talk every day, And so if something were to happen to me, they wouldn't know. They would not know. It'll be maybe weeks, and then they would, we reach out to each other. But men, on the other hand, like we're treated like that, and that was a living example of a guy. He had this little fling going on, and the lady, I don't know what the reasoning was. I got to get more into the story, but she deleted the man and took off his head and went to Mexico. Like, wow. So here it is. Of the past, Ma Steffleback is doing the same thing. She's looking for, she's targeting certain men, and she's seeing if they got money, and if they got money, she's still gonna delete them, and she gonna take their money. And then what she did was, she would have men take their bodies to these unforgotten mines, or mines that were no one was really using anymore. These abandoned mines, and she would have people dump their bodies, and nobody would know, right? So how did she get caught? How did Ma Steffleback get caught? Well, they said she got into it with one of her working girls. Her name was Cora. So she got into it with Cora, and Cora knew all the secrets because Cora was a part of all of these deeds or whatever. I shouldn't say a deed, these bad things, if you will, these criminal activities, if you will. So she falls out with Cora, and Cora goes to the cops, and she's telling the cops this, and then the cops like, oh, really? Tell us more, And then this is one thing that I thought that was really odd too. It says the authorities were particularly interested in Cora's story. Too many minors have been reported missing in the town. Now, this is a problem. The authorities know that so many people are being missing. This is a booming city now. And you have so many reports of minors missing. Why wasn't the authorities more proactive of figuring out what the fuck is going on? It's kind of like with the first chapter, the same scenario. You got guys, passerbys, if you will, transients, whatever you want to call it, and they're passing by, and they just come up missing. And the authorities was kind of like just not really doing anything, but they got onto this case, and so of course she's spilling the beans, and so they finally have some I guess some what's the word they use, what was the word they used? What's the legal term? They have some evidence, if you will, some secure evidence to lock up Ma Steffleback. And Ma Steffleback, here's another thing that I wanted to highlight, how things have not changed. Things don't change. So Ma Steffleback, she was a woman that she would not be pinned down. Like she had been through so many men, and she got divorced so many times. And it says that back in this time, it was deemed as what's the word they used for women to have to get married, and it wasn't a social thing. It was frowned upon for a woman to be divorced, and but she didn't give a fuck. She would marry these men, divorce them or whatever, and she just wouldn't tie down to a man. But I always say, this is my thoughts. These are my thoughts. This is from wisdom that I've learned along the way. Women don't want to be tied down, right? But there was this one particular guy. His name was Charles Wilson. Where you at, Charles? I want to make sure I tell them the right. Yeah, Charles Wilson. So she got this guy named Charles Wilson in her life. For the most part, from what I gathered, Charles Wilson was, I don't want to use these masculine beta terms. I don't want to use that. I don't want to do that. But I don't know if it says if she was, wait, hold on. It says she also liked to have control, so she wasn't about to marry the man she was living with, Charles Wilson. So she did not marry Charles Wilson. She didn't marry him. And she also had kids. So Charles Wilson was playing stepdaddy. I can't tell you what to do, but I have to ask, if you are a gentleman and you have no kids, you've never been married, I have to ask you, why would you choose a woman who has been divorced several times and has kids of her own? Why would a man take on that baggage? Why would he do such a thing? I don't know. I would not recommend that for myself. I wouldn't recommend that for someone else. But there are many guys out there. And I'm assuming because he's lonely, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he don't have money. He doesn't have money. I don't know. But he chose to be with Ma Steffleback. And so he was a part of these things that she was doing. And I'll read this last part. It says the police followed up, and before long, Steffleback found herself in jail with Wilson and her sons. Wow. So he was just tagging along. He was what's the word? I don't know the legal terms or words, but he was a part of it, the crimes, if you will. So, gentlemen, gentlemen, these are tough times that we are in. But please, 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 just I don't know what's the best way to say this, but take care of yourself, man. Take care of yourself, man. I that's something I'm trying to do for myself. I go to the gym. Look at me. Ooh, I'm trying to get my gains. Yeah. Man, I try to take care of myself, man, and that's what I want to do with this channel, man. Just share some wisdom, guys. Boss up, get some weight on you, man. Get some money. Be kind to yourself, man. I always end my stream like that. But this is a short stream. I'm in 20 minutes. I want to keep it short and sweet and simple. This is my first stream back. I should give you guys an update, man. I am no longer in Wyoming. I now live in Washington State. So a lot has changed. So that's why I'm trying to get all my settings together right for this channel. And yeah, man, we're gonna keep streaming, man. I'm encouraged to keep streaming. And now we'll see how this works. I want to do my capture screen. I really want to do that so that way I can share some stories and stuff like that. But I'll figure that out in the process. But yeah, man, that is my life update. And man, yeah, if you are a man that's going through these times, man, be kind to yourself, man. Take care of yourself, man. The society, the world is gonna treat you like shit. They treat us like utilities. No one gives a fuck, you know. But give a fuck for yourself, man. All right, let me get up out of here, man. I wanted to do this stream. I'm encouraged. I'm thankful for it. And I just ask that you hang with me, man. Enjoy my journey with me, man. Please hit the like button for me. Send me some comments. Subscribe if you haven't, man. Those are things that do encourage me along the way. Because YouTube is a very discouraging place at times. Like, yo, like, come on, YouTube. They would censor this story for some freaking reason. I'm like, why would you do this? So anyway, there's more stories to come, more things I want to talk about, more philosophical ideas I would like to share. And if you have any, I would like to listen and learn as well. So, all right, man, I am out of here. As always, peace and be kind to your motherfucking self.
Just let me eat you one time. You gonna sleep for 3 days, my baby. I'm gonna make you cry.
How you gonna show us?
Ay, ay, ay.
And I'm kinky, nasty as I want to be. Suck toes, lick scalp, eat ass. What? I eat ass like a crab. Let's get all that out.